Hello and welcome to this DVD on tricks and traps in the 1e4 openings. My name's Nigel Davis, Grandmaster from the United Kingdom. Now, it's human nature for players to want to win their games as quickly and efficiently as possible. And for this reason, there's a great interest in tricks and traps, especially very early on in the game. And probably anyone who's seen junior chess will know the immense interest there is in the 4-move checkmate, especially say in under 9s. And so go to any gathering of under 9 players and you're likely to see this happen. Say the bishop coming out here. Now if black isn't very careful, let's say he goes here and white's queen comes here, and then black thinks, aha, I might be able to get this bishop now. Then unfortunately he will fall an early victim to this scholar's mate. Queen takes f7 mate. And of course, we know that it's not particularly good because queen f3 brings the queen out too early, and if black knows what he's doing, he'll bring the knight out and defend against that, and then next move he's going to want to play d5 and drive the bishop back and win time on the bishop, and then probably win time on the queen with a later bishop g4 as well. So this is not a particularly good thing to do, but at under 9 level, it succeeds quite a lot of the time. Now, as players grow in strength, they might move on from this, and a great favourite is the fried liver, which goes like this: knight out here, bishop here, and if black goes here, then he can easily fall victim to this idea, and the unsuspecting black player may go here to block the threat against f7. And after takes, knight takes, then white will often be delighted to get this move in, knight takes f7. And of course after king takes f7 he wants to go queen f3 check. Now black's only move in this position is here, when he's in all sorts of danger because of the threats to his king. I mean, you can continue the game like this, for example, or indeed like this. But it's amazing the number of games I've seen ending like this, with the king trying to get to safety, but then black gets mated straight away. Bishop takes, and after bishop here, bishop takes there, checkmate. And this again is a huge point scorer at slightly older junior level. Now we're moving on to like ages 10 and 11, because the 10 and 11-year-olds, they know all about scholar's mate, but this one is something that still catches them. And as you move up the grading scale, the traps become more sophisticated and more combined with good play. The move bishop c4, knight f6, and now knight g5. This is a standard line of the two knights defense, and is known to be quite a good thing. A lot of players will prefer a more sophisticated treatment with d3 as they mature, but knight g5 is an acceptable move. I mean, it was played by Bobby Fischer, for example. So tricks and traps are a reality at every level of chess, and this is why it's important not only to know about them, but to develop an awareness of traps so that you won't fall victim, and perhaps even might be able to trap your opponents now and then. So I'm going to show you now a game that I played in which there was a very great psychological content, because my opponent was obviously trying to wind me up. And I managed to launch a little trick on him, and I'll show you how this game went. It was a game played against David Knox from the Bolton Quick Play Tournament in 2003, and I opened up with this move, knight out to f3, and now my opponent played h6. So he's deliberately trying to be provocative. How can I shame the Grandmaster by beating him with a highly provocative move? And I play now e4, and then he moves the other pawn forward, a6. So if I'd have lost this game, then I would probably have never been able to show my face at a chess tournament again, because of these moves a6 and h6. But I continued normally now. d4, my opponent plays c6, and then I brought the bishop out here, and black now played d5. So we've got actually a very funny kind of caro-can with a6 and h6 inserted, and these moves are a loss of time. But because of the relatively closed nature of the position, it's not going to be very easy to exploit these straight away. So I just continued normally with knight bd2, and this keeps the option of perhaps opening the center with some c4 later. And now black took here, d takes e4, I took the knight, and then he developed his bishop out to g4, and I castled, and then he went here. And at this point I did an exceptionally sneaky thing, and what I did was to play this move, rook to e1. Now the idea here is actually very similar to a caro-can defense, and we're going to have a look at that a bit later. There's a trick which goes like this. It's well known: d4, d5, knight c3, d takes e4, knight takes e4, knight d7, queen e2. A little bit obvious. When black goes here, white has knight d6 checkmate. Okay, so what we have here is the same theme, but by not being too obvious about it, because the move queen e2 actually blocks this bishop, so it will raise your opponent's suspicions, the fact that you're playing such an artificial looking move. However, rook e1 is much less obvious, and my opponent thought I was just playing a developing move, and he actually went here, after which I managed to get the knight d6 mate in. And he actually noticed when he had his hand on the knight on g8 that it was going to allow mate e1, so he had seen it coming, but there was nothing else he could do. He had to move the knight, and therefore I got to checkmate him, and I avoided the shame, most importantly. So anyway, on this DVD we're going to look at a variety of tricks and traps in 1e4 openings, and my particular focus is going to be on those which have actually worked in practice, because this one with the caro-can, it's an important theme, this mate on the e-file, but it will tend not to catch people now because they become far too suspicious once your queen is on e2. So it's going to be more realistic ones and tricks and traps that have even caught grandmasters. So we're operating at quite a sophisticated level as far as the openings are concerned, but these tactical ideas are nonetheless there.